Hello everybody, Bill here. Well, we're back and our ship is just about completed. So what we're going to do now, we're going to go ahead and cut a section out right here, this area right here, using a hot knife. And we're not going to discard those parts. We're going to use them as part of our explosion. And then I'll show you guys how we're going to make areas look like bent and twisted metal. And do a little airbrushing and go ahead and get this thing ready for mounting on our display. So stay tuned. Alright guys, so the ship is now cut in half. Okay, I just used a hot knife for that. Here's our leftover pieces. We're going to scavenge these and use these as part of our diorama later on. So we got the front half, the back half. What we need to do now is this area right in here, let me back up a little bit, where we melted the plastic. We need to deburr that. So we'll take a knife, clean all these edges up, get them back flush inside and out. Okay? And after that, this piece we won't worry about. We're going to end up utilizing that later on down the road. After that, we're going to melt a little bit of plastic, deform it, and then I'll show you guys how we make some torn metal so that ultimately our ship looks like it's been blown in half and we're going to have an explosion in the middle. Alright, so that's where we're at. Okay, we got that deburred. So what we're going to do now, I'm going to take this little jet lighter. I'm going to hit a couple sections along the hull, maybe along the top plate up here, and just warp that plastic just a little bit. Because remember, the ship's being blown apart, and we're going to add some more material in here, but we want to just pull just a little bit of warpage around where the explosion is. Okay. And I think one other thing I'm going to do, I think right here, I'm going to cut out a little section, maybe diagonally across there, and we'll make that look as if the beam had hit and then come across until it finally exploded. So there'll be a gash along the side of the hull. Alright, that's the plan. Hang in there. Okay, that was only about a 5-minute process, but you can see how we've got the metal stretched out, or the plastic stretched out. So it's deformed a little bit. And what we'll have to do, we're going to have to come back around and deburr this a little bit again. That's going to take, well, probably a minute and a half to do that. And then what we're going to do, we're going to take aluminum foil and super glue, and we're going to run it in all these areas and peel it back and make it look like torn metal. That's a time-consuming process. And you can play with it. You can't really do it wrong. I mean, you know, it's in the middle of an explosion, but it's one of those things that you can play with a little bit to make it look better. So that's our next step. Alright, so we started the process of foiling the ship where the damage is, and this is a long process, guys. There's no right or wrong way to do it, but what I do, I'll cut myself several different size pieces of aluminum foil, okay, and then I'll super glue them in the areas that are damaged and leave them uncut like this, so square pieces, okay. And you want to burnish them down, let the glue dry, burnish them down best you can, get some wrinkles in them, and then you're going to come back later on and tatter the back edges and fold those and twist those the way you want. Okay, and tools that you probably should have is a good pair of tweezers with a flat tip on it. And I've got this pair of tweezers where I've curved this tip down. I don't know if y'all see that or not. That helps me tear this. Instead of trying to cut it with a knife to tatter them, I can grab a hold of a piece and tear it. Okay, that helps a lot. And then of course you need your knife. It's good to have a paintbrush and a good wooden end, paintbrush, rounded end, so you can burnish it. And toothpicks are always a huge help. Okay, so I'm going to continue doing this. I'll go ahead and do this piece, and I'm going to take some still photos of this so you can see the progress through the end at the end of this video. But I'll go ahead and finish this piece up, and then we'll get back with y'all here in a minute. Okay, so the front section of the ship is done pretty much as I want to right now. Whenever you're doing this technique, you're always going to go back and touch it up. You're always going to go back and add little pieces in here and there, or make changes in the folds you've got. But this is good enough at this point for us to go ahead and paint this section of the ship. And I'll just lay some gray on it tonight. I'm not going to mess with painting the red. And what you guys are going to notice on this particular model, I'm not going to mess too much with blending this in, because most of what you see is involved in the explosion or is underwater or in a vapor cloud. So that's where we're at. And remember, you're not going to see any of that. So all you're concerned about is the outside. Alright, I'm going to step back and do this rear section, and we'll be back. Okay, so I got a little gray paint on there as primer, and you can kind of see where this is going now. So we'll continue to back off a little bit. We'll continue to work some details on this, add some more little flair to it here and there. But that's basically the look it's going to have when it's sitting in the water. And of course, like I said, there's an explosion in the middle of it. Alright, so I'm going to continue working on this, guys. That's going to be it for tonight, for y'all anyways. And see you in a bit. Bye.